2 of episode 70 of Kenya's premier sports video podcast, the Three Quarters Podcast. As usual, remember to jump onto the hashtag Road to Japan to support the Kenya SIMBAS as they are still looking to qualify for the Rugby World Cup in 2019 in Japan. I'm BMOTW.
And I'm Ngaro Kamuya.
So, Bad Man of the Week.
Yeah.
From our feature game.
Yeah.
That is Impala versus Homeboys.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's just one name that everyone was singing. And in part one, you'd already mentioned it 5 times. I'm like, dude, you're killing it. Now I can't hype it. But that was Johnston Olindi.
Yes.
I mean, I think without him, not that Homeboys would not have played well, but I think the opportunities he created and all of that, and being such a young guy, basically, as in just his temperament, his calmness, I think that really, it really helped.
It did help.
Yep.
And for 2 things, I'm just remembering. When the game ended, I think I walked up to you and I told you it was quite obvious.
Yes.
Who was the
if anyone else got it, we'd be like,
Yeah, it was quite obvious. Then I go back to maybe 3 or 4 episodes ago, when we actually got to see Johnston Olindi for the first time, and I think you and I are discussing and saying this guy is going to be a talent. I remember when we were going to do our interviews, I started chatting with Joshua Chisanga, and I told Joshua Chisanga, look, this kid at number 10 is a very good player, he's a very good fly-half, and I think Homeboys should retain him. And he accepted. He did say, yes, this guy is a very good talent. He actually told me that he had conversations with head coach Paul Murunga about Johnston Olindi, and we just saw it come to fruition, for lack of a better word, in a big stage game. He also had a very good game versus KCB, but we just saw it come to fruition in the game. At the final, he kicks, we've said his kicks, turning Impala back 3, but it was the way he opened Impala's defense.
Yep.
And Impala has a very strong defense. The way he opened Impala's defense is just what amazed me. And he's very with it as a number 10. He knows exactly what to do as a number 10. So he's definitely a talent to watch, and he's definitely someone to watch over the years. And I think, barring everything being equal, Johnston Olindi is going to be a class number 10 for Kenya.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was something I was going to say, and I'm really trying to think of what it was.
Yeah.
But yes, I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Johnston Olindi at 10 is definitely one to watch.
Yep, that's true.
Now, Kenyan rugby history.
Yeah.
So, Joel Nganga, Darwin Mukidza,
Yes.
Robert Taringo, Edwin Machanje, what do they have in
common?
Yes.
What they have in common.
Apart from the fact that they are men.
Yes. What they have in common is that they have all had the great privilege of representing Kenya in the 15th game and being members of the Kenya SIMBAS.
Yeah.
So that's our team for today. There's no fixed date on when really the Kenya SIMBAS started playing. But previously, from inception of the Kenya Rugby Union, or the Kenya Rugby Football Union as it was known then, all that used to happen was touring sites. We've talked about the Scorpions, we've talked about East African Tuskers. We've talked about those 2 touring sites. At least that's in 15s and 7s as the Watembezi Pesetters. So in the 80s, talking to people and asking people, I get the feeling that this happened in the mid 80s when the Kenya SIMBAS came to fruition, or for lack of a better word, when the Kenya SIMBAS started playing games.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, the Kenya SIMBAS is the national team for Kenya. The Kenya 15s team, in my opinion, I think they are the actual true superstars of rugby in the game. But everyone is entitled to their opinion. Yeah, but some things I'd like to mention. Their current record stands at they've played 107 games so far. They've won 56 games, they've lost 57 games, and they've drawn 4. I might add that, the 56 wins, most of them have been in the last 5-6 years when our focus has actually been put on the game of rugby 15s. So currently they're captained by Wilson Kopondo. The most capped player is somebody you've mentioned, Joel Nganga.
Yep, Joel Nganga.
Joel Nganga had 52 caps. He captained Kenya. Actually, he was captain prior to Wilson Kopondo being appointed captain, 2014, I think thereabouts. He's currently the head coach of Queens, I think. Top point scorer, top try scorer.
Darwin Mukidza.
Yeah. So Darwin Mukidza is the top point scorer with 303 points. And top try scorer with 16 tries.
Yep.
So that's our team for today.
Yep. Yeah. So we move on to the KRU Championship and the nationwide leagues. And for the championship, we had Mean Machine and Oilers, who were going to be promoted anyway to Kenya Cup. But Mean Machine just sort of stamping their authority, saying, "Yo, we mean business, winning that game."
I own this. I can't say whatever word I was going to say.
I was like, oh my gosh, don't. Yep.
Yeah,
so winning that game 10-5.
Yeah, Mean Machine winning that game 10-5, and I think when we were watching the Enterprise Cup final, somebody showed me and they're like, "Hey, look, it's 5-5 after normal time. It was in sudden death. Sorry, so there's some Machine scored a try in sudden death and an unconverted try and winning the 2017-2018 championship. And it's good. From a sentimental point, it's very good.
Yes.
I mean, Mean Machine is the first club that had indigenous players in Kenya, so it's good to see that Mean Machine, number one, have won the championship. Number two, I remember when Machine were relegated, I had a conversation with former Machine captain Ian Were, and the debate basically, I understood where he was coming from in terms of being passionate about Machine and Chuma Absolute and cradle of rugby in Kenya. But on the other hand, I was telling him, look, where days have changed and rugby has changed and this competition. And I was asking him, and I remember making a comment. But I'll take it back right now. But I remember making a comment then and said that even if they go down to the championship, I don't think they'll and a sport back promotion.
I think this is largely, I mean, yes, they've been putting in the work, especially more recently, but, and I keep forgetting the coach's name. I call him Biggie.
Philip Kidakwa.
Yes,
but
so
he's
Phelim has definitely worked on that. I mean, I remember during Floodlights and we're watching them, and I remember him telling me, just watch this space.
Yes.
And
you actually did mention it. During Floodlights, I remember you said that having talked to Phelim Kidakwa, aka Biggie, very many people know him as Biggie.
Yeah.
He had the intention, and he knew what he was doing. And that's a good thing about time.
Yep.
And then in 6, 7, 8 months, we now see the results.
So we welcome them with open arms back into Kenya.
And make sure you don't go back down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now you need to stay.
Yeah, they do. They need to stay.
Yep. So moving on to the nationwide, we had the quarterfinals. So we had Masinda Muliro beat Technical University of Mombasa.
Yes.
Sorry, no, I wrote Nairobi. No, this can't be right.
Yeah, Mombasa.
Yes, 39-0. We had Swara beat Maseno, 14-3. Eldoret beat Suburbs, 18-17. And Kiambu lost to Kitale RFC, 10-17. So this means onto the semi-finals, we have Kitale versus Swara and Eldoret versus Masinde Muliro. So the finalists will be promoted to replace Jacob Cougars and Moy University. And then the losing semi-finalists will head to promotion playoff with Ngong RFC and University of Egerton.
Oh, that's just to show you, and it's a shocking thing how guys, and you hear guys making very ignorant, because I call them ignorant comments, and saying that there's not much rugby happening. Come on, there's a hell lot of rugby happening.
There's always rugby.
There's always rugby happening. So it's good, and congratulations to the teams that are in the semi-finals now. We must add that Swara. I was actually sat with the Swaras guys during the game, and it's good to know that Swara is actually the feeder team for Impala.
Yeah, for Impala.
So it's championship is over, Kenya Cup is over, but we still have the nationwide going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Mamba Cup.
And Mamba Cup.
Those guys.
That's true.
Yep. So we move on to Bamburi Rugby Super Series, or rather, I mean, following trials, there's been a lot of talk. I mean, you know how you have a WhatsApp status? I've been seeing, players putting up, bring back Bamburi Super Series. So people clearly want it. What do you think went wrong, and what do we need to do to get it back?
Yeah, this was triggered by something I read on social media. There was a comment by Impala Director of Rugby, Fred Oloz, who said that during the trials, he was sat down with Hamon Sando and former Queen's chairman, and Ham said, I can't believe that it was a board decision. Sorry, I can't believe that the Kenya Rugby Union board sat down and made a decision to scrap Bamburi Super Series. And yes, I do agree with him.
Yeah.
This tournament was responsible for the growth of the 15th game in the country. It was responsible for the expansion of the game, even from a commercial standpoint. I remember how, previously when the tournament started, it had a very good format. I remember that time Lions was KCB and Mombasa, Rhinos was Queens and Mwamba, Nguvu Sharks was the university side, and SDV Transami Cheetahs was Impala and Nondes. And then we expanded into Uganda. We brought in Rwenzori and Victoria, which was a very good move. There was also the move to go to Arusha, which was also good when we brought in the Twiggers. So it was a very good format because you had the elite players of the country taking part in the Bamburi Rugby Super Series.
Definitely raises a level of competition.
It does raise a level of competition, and without a doubt, it put rugby on the map. Between 2000 and when the tournament was formidable, between about 2007 and 2012, Bamburi Super Series was what guys used to want to go watch. So I think the union really needs to think about bringing it back. It needs to come back. But whatever format they decide to take, I would urge them to keep it as an elite competition, because once the clubs start pulling their players from Super Series, then it's going to get watered down as it did, and it's going to die down.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I digress a little, but when you talk about that, and you, it takes me, like the growth of 15s rugby, basically, in Kenya, it takes me back to how Elgin Cup doesn't happen for the Lionesses.
Yes.
And you expect the sport to grow. How?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's well and good to have a sevens team.
Yeah.
But what happens to all the other players?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I agree with you. Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
we move on to the international rugby scene, and we had Super Rugby Match Day 12.
Yes.
We had the Chiefs
Yes.
versus the Jaguares.
Yes.
I remember reading this before, and I'm like, Jaguars? I'm like, no, that is definitely not how you say it.
Yes.
So Chiefs losing 19-23 to the Jaguares.
To the Ali penalties, from Damien McKenzie on Chiefs side, Nicolas Sanchez, and Emilio Boffelli on the Jaguares side. Jaguares, I must add, is like the whole Argentina national team. So Jaguares they've hit a purple patch. They've had a very good traveling season because they're playing all their games away. I must add, there was a brilliant try by Charlie Ngatai, but look, Jaguares just showing their class on the day and showing the powerful pack play that Argentina is famed for. So that was our game of the week, but I must read the other results. Of course, we had the Rebels lose to the Crusaders 10-55. We had the Hurricanes beat the Lions 28-19. We had the Tars, the Water Tars, lose to the Blues 21-24. We had the Stormers beat the Bulls 29-17. We had the Sharks beat the Highlanders in what was a shocker, 38-12. And so that's the result. So in Aussies, the Waratahs are leading. In Australia, the Waratahs are leading. New Zealand, it's Crusaders. And in South Africa, it's Lions. How does the final table look like? Crusaders number 1, Hurricanes number 2, Lions number 3, Highlanders number 4, Waratahs number 5, and the Chiefs number 6.
So before we wrap it up, guys, I think we should start a new hashtag. Another one.
Yes.
Hashtag bring back Bamburi Super Series.
I agree with that.
Yep. And remember, guys, you can follow us on Instagram, like our page on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm BMOTW.
And I'm Ngaroka Muya.
Stay tuned for part 3.